I was expelled against my will. I spent a lot of money and a lot of time trying to avoid expulsion on lawyers and all the rest. At my expulsion hearing, Mr. Michael Foot, the previous leader of the party, Mr. Benn, the greatest Labour parliamentarian of all time, and Mr. Corbyn were my character witnesses, if you like, asking the National Executive not to expel me. So, of course, I regretted being expelled, but having been expelled, I wasn't going to, as it were, retire from the field. So I continued my battle in another form, and as you implied in your introduction, I did tell Mr. Blair on the day I was expelled that he would rue the day, and they lived to rue the day. But it goes without saying that Jeremy Corbyn has my absolute loyalty and support and love, and I wish him every success. Is being a good and honest man unelectable? I doubt that. And if it is, what would we prefer? A bad, dishonest man? Would that be better? If that were held to be electable, what's the point in being elected? For bad intentions or dishonest purposes. So I have faith in the British people, and the contest when it comes, if God spares him, 2020, will be a very interesting one, and it will be a different one because David Cameron will have retired, and the Conservatives, having laid waste to the public services and proved even more divisive in their second term than they were able to be in their first, will be quite an enfeebled political force, I think. And their leader will either be George, or should I say Gideon Osborne, for that is his name, Gideon Osborne of the Bullingdon Club. I know that's a rival outfit to yours, but it's...
it just isn't, but okay.
But it describes him, I think. He's a pasty-faced product of the English ruling elite. And I don't think that cuts a lot of mustard in the country. Or, if there's a crash in 2018, which some predict there will be, the leader is likely to be Boris Johnson, also of Eton and the Bullingdon Club. I think Jeremy Corbyn against Boris Johnson, or Jeremy Corbyn against George Osborne, will be a much closer contest than the pundits would like you to believe here and now.
And this brings me on to my next question, which is Julian Assange. As you're probably aware, this union voted recently and held a referendum on whether or not we would give a platform to Mr. Assange. And the overwhelming majority of our membership voted in favour, and Mr. Assange is scheduled to speak here by video link on the 11th of November. You came under intense fire from anti-rape campaigners over your comments in relation to the allegations that were levelled against Mr. Assange. And you said that they have no basis because having sex with a woman when she is asleep is not rape. You then defended these sexual allegations, assault allegations against Mr. Assange by stating that they amounted to no more than bad sexual etiquette. I just wanted to ask you a bit more about that, and to ask you how you feel justified in defending that position when the law in this country is very clear in noting that consent is required every time someone has sex.
Well, that last point is actually not the case. You're obviously not a law student.
I actually am. Okay.
You are? In that case, we've got problems. It is a defense against an accusation of rape that reasonable grounds to assume consent. That happens to be the law. Julian Assange should receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Julian Assange has performed a service to the world, to those of inquiring mind, as I presume all of you are, or you wouldn't be here, to every journalist in the world, to every broadcaster in the world, Julian Assange ought to be a hero. And the reason he's in this fix, and it is a fix, I can assure you, his situation in the Ecuador embassy in a single room for all these years now is a real fix. The reason that he's in this fix is nothing whatsoever to do with allegations, and they are only allegations, made after the fact, long after the fact, by women that he slept with in Sweden. They are everything to do with the determination of the United States of America to do to Julian Assange what they've done to Chelsea Manning, to get him in front of a secretly assembled grand jury and send him to prison for the rest of his life. I regret the words that I used in sticking up for Julian Assange. I regret the fact that those words, the way that I expressed my position, have given my enemies opportunities to attack me and attack him. And I'm sorry that I upset some people, including some that I personally respect and know, that I gave them offense by the way in which I expressed my view. But my view doesn't change, that Assange is being set up so that he can be extradited to the United States. No means no in sexual affairs. Rape is a hideous crime that should be prosecuted and, if convicted, punished most severely. Rape is a hideous thing. But Julian Assange has never been charged with rape, has never been charged actually with any sexual offense, let alone convicted of one. And I'm therefore glad that the Cambridge students did what they should have done in the referendum in the last few days, and that Julian will be able to speak for himself to you on the 11th of November.
Okay, moving on to the next topic then. In February 2013, you walked out of a debate in Oxford on the motion Israel should withdraw immediately from the West Bank when you found out that the opponent in the debate was Israeli. Do you regret doing that? And do you think it was right to refuse to talk to someone just because he was Israeli in that situation?
Well, I talk to Israelis all the time. In fact, one particular Israeli, perhaps the finest Israeli, I speak to almost every day. Professor Ilan Pape of now Exeter University, formerly professor of history at Haifa University, is an Israeli Jew with whom I work very closely. So it has nothing to do with the nationality of the person involved. I work with lots of Israelis. But my policy is no recognition, no normalization. So I cannot behave towards an Israeli supporter of the apartheid state in the way that I would deal with either an Israeli opponent of the apartheid state or a citizen of any other country. How much of a charge sheet have you assembled here?
Well, it's not a charge sheet, it's just questions.
It feels a bit like a trial.
Well, it's not, it's questions.
Yeah. You know, there are some contemporary burning British issues that I really hope we have time to get on to.
We will get to them.
I'm in a, and have always been, even when I was in the Labour Party, in a luxurious position that I don't really care whether I'm a member of Parliament or not. I don't see it as a career. I stand by what I believe in. I obey my conscience. Even if I was the last man standing who believed what I was saying, I'd still say it. Whether it led to defeat or victory is a secondary matter. You do know that the BBC is the British state TV. If the BBC asked me to have a show on the BBC, I would of course accept it, on the proviso that nobody told me what to say or what not to say. And that's what I do on Press TV. It's what I do with my wife on RT, on Russia Today. We have a weekly show there. No one has ever, would ever, and if they did, it would be the end, ever asked me, told me what to say and what not to say. So frankly, I'll take a television platform on any television station, even Fox News. No, I mean that. As long as Fox News didn't try to tell me what to say and what not to say. Well, that was just a stream of ad hominem personal abuse. That was one insult after another, one distortion after another, one quote taken out of context after another. So candidly, I don't regard your question as worthy of my response. I have no problem about working with Israelis who are against the apartheid state. My problem is affording recognition to Israeli supporters of apartheid. You're an intelligent audience. You must be able to discern the difference between these categories. So I went to the debate believing that I'd be debating against a supporter of Israel. When I discovered that I was debating against an Israeli supporter of apartheid, of military age, who I now realize, I now know, served in the Israeli military, I have no intention of affording recognition with to such people, any more than I would have done with a Boer supporting apartheid in South Africa. I'm not sure why you're fixated on this. There are plenty of other people that he could debate with, just not with me.
If what you believe, well, clearly you do believe that what this country desires, what this country in fact needs is conviction politics and people who speak the truth and mean what they say, and it's undeniable that that is what you do. But if that is what you do, why is it the case the country has not seen fit, well, your constituency has not seen fit to support you and re-elect you?
But I've been elected 6 times to the House of Commons, twice as a respect member of Parliament, in rock solid Labour seats. And I'm running for Mayor of London, and I'm doing quite well, I promise you. So let's postpone that question until next May, shall we?